Imagine working a full shift at a restaurant, running food, taking orders, dealing with difficult customers, and after all that, you take home less than $3 an hour before tips. That's not a glitch. That's how the system is designed. The topic of my speech today is the unfairness of paying waiters below the minimum wage. I've researched this issue, and what I found convinced me that the system is broken and that we can fix it. Today I'll cover three main points. First, I'll explain the problem of the sub-minimum wage for tipped workers. Second, I'll break down what caused the system. And third, I'll share a fair and practical solution to improve things. Let's begin by looking at the problem itself. My first main point is that the sub-minimum wage creates financial instability for tipped workers. Many states allow restaurants to pay servers as little as $2.13 in base pay, assuming tips will make up the difference. But tips are unpredictable, and not every worker receives enough to cover basic living expenses. Studies show both benefits and drawbacks when the wage is raised, but even the drawbacks are minimal. According to Evan and McPherson, raising the tipped minimum wage increase weekly earnings, and employment reduction is very small, less than 1% for every 10% wage increase. In contrast, Newmark and Yan found that raising the tipped wage may slightly lower employment, but the reduction in overall sector income is small, and the effect on low-income families is limited. So if it's such a flawed system, how did we end up with it in the first place? My second main point is that the tipped wage system has roots in economic exploitation and is reinforced by modern legal structures. Tipping culture has long been used to shift wage responsibility away from employers and onto customers. The Fair Labor Standards Act allows this through the tipped credit, which legally permits employers to pay below minimum wage if tips make up the difference. Sociologists argue that the system reinforces inequality and weakens the workers' power. According to Ross and Welsh, the tip minimum wage creates labor precarity and reduces worker protections, especially in sectors like restaurants and gig work. Their analysis shows that tipping isn't just a cultural habit, it's embedded in the system that give more control to employers and less security to workers. Now that we understand the system, how it functions, what can we do to change it? My third main point is that we should phase out the tipped minimum wage and replace it with a standard fair hourly wage. This means guaranteeing workers, including tipped ones, that the same minimum wage as everyone else. While critiques worry this would reduce tipping or hurt businesses, state-level data tells a different story. Some changes in tipping behavior may happen, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. According to a state-level analysis by Lennon Cornell, increasing minimum wage can reduce tip percentages, but higher base wages will also bring more stable income and reduce dependence on customer generosity. The research also shows that tipping behavior changes differently depending on the service type, like cafes versus full-service restaurants. Let's review what we've talked about today. Today I talked about the three main points in my speech. My first main point discussed how the sub-minimum wage creates economic instability for tipped workers. My second main point explores how the system is rooted in power structures that favor employers. Finally, my third main point explained how we can fix this by giving workers a standard minimum wage. The next time you leave a tip at a restaurant, remember that it's not just a thank you. It's part of someone's paycheck. But it shouldn't have to be. We owe our service workers more than just kindness. We owe them fair pay.